Everybody, Liam Clisham here for another Houdini quick tip, quasi quick tip on using a primitive SOP and kind of creating this cool disintegration effect, but also kind of PolyFX from C4D, but to like the nth degree, a lot more powerful, a lot faster than what you can do in C4D. But if you've ever come from C4D and you're trying to figure out how to do PolyFX, this is basically the tutorial for you. So I'm going to quickly break down what I've got going on here if you are already kind of comfortable in in Houdini, and then I'll rebuild it and go over some of the SOPs in greater detail. But in short, if I hop in here and come up, got a basic grid here, and this is just a transform if you want to move it around, and just remeshing it a good bit. Throwing down a divide, it's smoothing it and doing a dual compute. And over on this side, I'm just deleting everything in this Wrangle right here. I've got this saved as a preset and we'll go over it later if you want to copy it and learn more about it. But essentially deleting all the primitives, putting a point in the center of where they are, and then I'm using some MOPs because it just makes it a lot easier than trying to do it the manual way of getting scale and everything there. But this method, you can totally do it without MOPs. It's just way easier. So go get MOPs. It's a great tool. So anyway, got all this controlling these points over here. And you can see it's kind of doing this curl noise, not vected, just kind of like curl noise math, and piping it back into this primitive. And this is really what I want to focus on a bit today, is how powerful this second input is, which I never knew about. I've used it, the primitive SOP, in other ways by doing like calling a point from another object and using that to control the primitive SOP and just writing expressions in here. So if I did like point and then 1, I'll just write it out. So it's easy to say point and then 1 and then whatever the point number is. So usually what ptnum and attribute of, I don't know, taco 0, something like that. That's what I would do to get this similar effect. And it was a lot of typing and copying and pasting. And about a month ago, I was trying to do a disintegration effect. And I was like, wonder what this second input does, like template. And I started reading through the manual. I was like, this really sounds like what I want to do. And it is. You can control all of these primitives like a PolyFX in C4D by making some points that match as your template, and it will bring it all over and control this, which is hard to see when don't have a null on, but you can see here. It's pretty heavy because I'm dividing and dual computing and smoothing and all that. So not great for real time playback, at least not on this machine. But yeah, super powerful if you start using this second input. So anywho, I skipped over this left side. All this Facet's doing is making unique points. And if you're not familiar with that, it's just separating these. So right now, before, these are all kind of quote unquote glued together at the vertices with their points. And then right here, this comes in and you can't even tell a difference until you start messing with it. And it separates all these. And this null is just here so we don't get those colors that come through from MOPs. All right, so that's that. Kind of quick overview of how things are running. And I've got this split here because I am on a new machine and I've just, it's COVID and my brain is shot and I'm senile. So yeah, hopefully I don't have to reference the original too much and I've kind of memorized how this is built, but we'll see. So breakdown time, going through it individually, do grid, just throw that in there. I don't think we need such a huge grid. We can probably do like 2 by 2, which is even smaller than I believe the other one was. And what we want to do is remesh it so we can get some more points. But before we do that, I want to break down what the primitive SOP really does. And right now it's called primitive properties. It used to just be called primitive, I believe. So if you're in an older version than Houdini 19, it might just be primitive, like it says right here. Pipe this in, and if we do transformation, what's going to happen is I'll put in 45 here, and you'll see it starts to apply 45-degree transformations, but it becomes really powerful when you separate your primitives and do what that facet was doing. So we'll throw down a facet, and we're just going to make unique points. So what that means is, as I explained earlier really quickly, separating the points and giving each primitive its own points instead of joining them and making vertices and all that. And there you go. You can see they're all getting these attributes applied to them now. And you can do cool stuff, like, or that was supposed to be not a negative, a 0.1. There we go. And yeah, you can figure out ways to make this really cool. And as I was saying, I used to have objects up here and like mask from geometry, where I would make whatever transition I want to have happen and then type out scripts or anything in here and control it that way. And it gets really heavy because you're always referencing something up the chain instead of piping it down directly into this template area. So that's where this will start to become really powerful, is when we start using the templated stuff. So I'm going to throw down a Wrangle, and we'll start going down this route. And what we're going to do over here is get center points. I'll just call it, I'll write it out the right way. Center points. And I've got a preset here, and prim center point. All right, so what this is doing is it's adding a point to the center of each of these primitives, and then it's deleting it. So I'm going to go ahead and strike this out for a second so you can see what's happening. So you can see now, not only do we have all these points here, but we have one in the center of each. And if we were to keep that, it would work, but we're really trying to manipulate everything by the center point of these primitives going in here, because you want things to rotate around here, not these points here. So when you're templating, it adds too many points and variables for this to calculate. So strike or unstrike that, and there you go. Now we've got all that. And if I flag this or template it, you can see now we've just got the points where they were, and we'll pipe this into here. And I guess I'll just do a noise right now for those that don't have MOPs. It is so much easier to do MOPs, so please get MOPs. And pipe this in here, and we'll just call this P. And there you go. That's getting to be similar effects. Obviously, we can start throwing down masks from geometry or whatever and control these fall-offs. And I guess I'll go over that too really quickly in case you don't have MOPs. But we'll do mask from target. That should be good. Pipe that in. Doot. And I like calling my attributes taco when I'm just messing around. And I'm going to do a plane like that. Make sure you're selected on there. And I might, probably because I have these on. There we go. All right, so you can start to see the fall off here. Everything on this side is activated and everything on the other side is not. And so if I come back into this attribute noise and we do it with a blend, and we don't want a constant, we want to use attribute and taco. There we go. I'm going to go ahead and throw down a remesh right now just so we can get some more points happening. And it doesn't have to be a lot, just make it easier to see what's going on. All right, so if I pull this back in, you can see this is controlling this. If we grab our handle down here, can start to control the movement of these points, like so. So you can do this without MOPs. It's fine. This is basically how you would set it up and go in and add more noise, less noise, build the noise up however you want. That's fine. I'm going to delete these out of here, and let's remesh this a little bit more down to like 0.1. Okay, and throw down a MOPs noise modifier. We're just going to start with this for the time being. And you'll see we get a lot more options way quicker. We can also affect rotation, and affect scale, which you can't see happening here with the points, but we will definitely see it as we move forward into this area here. And I think I need to do the remesh above here. There we go. Yep, that's out of order a bit. Sorry about that. So let's do uniform and frequency. Let's do 2. Yeah, that's fine. And bring down the roughness a little bit, bring up some octaves, sure. But you'll see we're not getting that rotation or scale at the moment. One, we don't have any scale going on in the noise, and rotation not really happening either. So we'll do 45. And what needs to happen is we need to do rotate to template, and this also affects the scale as well. So turn that on, and then we start to get our rotation here. And if you want to do scale as well, you can start to adjust the scale here, or I think I had to go and do this a little bit backwards than my mind thought of having. Yeah, I had to change this to -1 to have it be scaled down and then scale back up. So if I go -1, you'll see it scales down. And then if we had a fall off going, it would control that scale for you. So let's do that. Let's just make the fall off. So fall off is going to be just like what we were doing with our mask from point earlier, but a lot nicer and a lot more visually appealing. So I'm going to come in here and let's go ahead and make this even smaller, something like that. We'll get a lot more points going. We will preview our fall off in here, and let's rotate this 90 degrees so it's going that way. Why is my fall off not showing up? That's weird. Oh, I'm doing that thing again. I keep leaving that on, not catching it. Sorry. Clearly I am out of my element of making tutorials. It's been a while. So I'm going to scale this down on the Z just so we get that a little bit tighter. And now you can see we've got that same kind of fall off. The nice thing about using MOPs is you can apply noise to your fall off just like that. Makes it super easy. And I'm going to do like half, just kind of some subtle in there. Maybe I want more than that. Yeah, there we go. It's going the wrong way. I should have doubled it. So there it is. So going forward, you can see we've got, and I'll turn this off to make it a little bit easier to see, everything that is after this is activated and then not activated, like so. So we're like kind of doing a reverse disintegration effect here. This is more like what the reverse of Thanos coming on. So we're controlling that there, and it all slides in. If we go into our primitive, take a look. There we go. It's all triangulated and scaling down, rotating in, and you could add some fall off and displacement and make this a lot sexier than it currently is. But yeah, that's basically the PolyFX setup from C4D. Now we can take it further by adding in a divide and doing some dual computes and smoothing, which gives either some like hexagon feel or just better shapes than triangles, I find. So divide, and we need that before the facet, And let me template that or turn it on. All right, so what we're gonna do is put on dual compute. You'll see we get this really cool like hexagon shape going on. And I'm gonna animate this so I don't have to keep doing it. So come back here, please. There we go. All right, so put a keyframe there. And I did that in the wrong spot, but that's okay. We'll go like this there. Jump to that keyframe. Slide that over. Okay, we're good. We're getting somewhere. Make sure that's set. All right, so now I don't have to keep doing that. But now we get kind of this cool hexagon pattern, still have our scaling and everything. But can go even further by like smoothing the polygons, and then we get these cool like it's hexagons, but then there's these quad diamond triangle things in there too. You can even bricker the polygons and go crazy with that. That's too crazy. Don't need to do all that. Break in Houdini. All right, so we don't need so many divisions. Let's do 2. So yeah, you can get some really cool patterns in there, and you can start to see we've got like this star in the center, and then it's almost like sacred geometry a little bit, where it like makes these ring loops, but then this one intersects with this one there. Yeah, it can get a lot nicer looking than just standard PolyFX and C4D. As I keep saying, I don't mean to beat a dead horse, just, yeah, my feelings about that. So we're going to throw down a null so we don't have to keep seeing all those colors, and drag this through. And there you go. You've basically got a PolyFX reveal disintegration effect that is way nicer looking, way faster with MOPs. Sorry I didn't go into all the details of how to set up scale and rotation with just normal vanilla Houdini. It's like it's almost not even worth going through the hassle. Like, this is all free stuff with MOPs. Henry's awesome. Please go support him and download these, join his Discord, and even donate and upgrade to MOPs Plus. They're fantastic tools. So yeah, that's basically it. We've recreated this initial one. Some of the settings are a little bit different, but to go over it again, start a grid or any mesh, really, we could do a pig head. Throw this in here. It's gonna cook. And we've already got that set up. Obviously, it's gonna need a little bit of tweaking to get the scale right, but there's a pig head coming in and on, like so. And you're basically ready to go to make cheap, easy disintegration effects for motion design. But yeah, any geometry coming in, remesh it however many times you want. Just real quickly kind of doing that. This looks terrible on the pig because I still have the shader on. And then divide it to get some more detail. Like so. Facet, what we're doing here is making unique points. Then we've got our center points over here. That's all that's remaining. Using MOPs to fall off, and then driving the noise like that. And then we've got our primitive where it's pulling these templates, and just make sure you turn rotate to template on for getting your scale and rotation values working correctly. I miss that probably 50% of the time that I set up one of these. It just, I will go through, I'm like, oh, why am I not getting scale and rotation? And after 15 minutes of banging my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm an idiot and I forgot to turn this on. Yeah, so that's that. So anywho, sorry, it's been a while since I made a tutorial. I will try and be better, especially sorry to you, YouTube, for not meeting your specifications of how often I'm posting and you threatening to take down my channel because of it or showing it as results. That's kind of a new thing to me. Kind of sucks for people, but yeah. If you have any questions, you can find me everywhere, either as Liam Clisham or 531. I'm kind of transitioning away from the 531 name, so we'll see what happens there. But just do a quick Google for Liam Clisham. You can find me on Slacks and Discords and whatever. If you've got a question about anything, hit me up and maybe I can make a tutorial on it or answer your question and help you out in some way. But yeah, just broke 6,000 subscribers and super thankful for you all, especially when I'm not making content all the time. But yeah, Happy New Year, everybody, and I'll see you in the future. Thanks.